Manchester City head into 2025-26 in a delicate but promising phase. A recalibration rather than a rebuild, with the same coach, the same game model, and a slightly different set of tools to execute it. The past cycle reminded everyone that even a serial winner needs fresh patterns and fresh legs to keep the idea sharp. Expect the structure to oscillate between a 4-3-3 that becomes a 3-2-2 in the first line of build-up and the familiar 3-2-4-1 with a box midfield. The intention is unchanged: control the middle, occupy the half spaces, and press so aggressively after losing the ball that transitions are strangled in birth. What should feel new is the way City reached the last third. Instead of depending on one talismanic final ball, the side will try to generate the same outcome by committee. More short combinations near the corner of the box, more third man runs off a bounce pass, more quick cutbacks along the 6-yard line after luring a fullback out. That shifts responsibility onto the 8s and the wide forwards to make diagonal, decisive movements even when the tempo looks calm. The left side should be a laboratory again, when the left back steps inside to form the double pivot next to Rodri. The winger on that side has license to pin the last line and stretch diagonally, creating a passing lane into the left half space for a midfielder or a false winger arriving from deeper. When the left back stays wide, the job flips. The winger comes short to draw pressure, the 8 bursts beyond him, and the striker makes a near post sprint to threaten the gap between center back and full back. City under this coach are at their best when that triangle is automated and unreadable, with each of the 3 roles rotating every 5 or 6 passes.
With Doku, he's so direct, he's so electric.
And he's an absolute dribbling machine, isn't he?
He's the type of player that will make anything happen at any moment.
Brilliantly done by Doku! Manchester City go in front.
On the right, the picture will likely lean towards stability and circulation rather than fireworks. Whether the right back tucks into midfield or stays as a classic overlap, the priority there is to stabilize rest defense, protect the switch of play, and offer a safe wall pass when the left side has been overloaded. The right-sided 8, meanwhile, has to become the team's metronome, keeping the tempo high enough that defensive blocks can't fully reset, but slow enough that the team never loses spacing. That balance, calm with purpose, has been the hallmark of City's long spells of superiority, and it matters even more now that opponents are more comfortable sinking into a very low line and daring City to send aimless crosses. In the middle of the pitch, Rodri still shapes the whole thing. His choices determine how high the backline can hold, how many runners can go beyond the ball, and how bold City can be in counter-pressing. If a second controller shares his load, whether a fullback stepping in or a genuine midfielder alongside him, expect City to squeeze teams in a 3-2 cage that sits just inside the opponent's half. From there, they bait a pass into the touchline trap, pounce with 2 or 3 bodies, and instantly look for a ground-level pass across the face when the ball is turned over. If that second controller isn't available, Pep will likely manage risk with slightly longer spells of circulation, fewer bodies beyond the ball, and more patience before attempting the killer pass.
Rodri into the roof of the net. Rodri strikes it into the back of the net. Hit by Rodri. He has a habit of scoring precious goals for the club.
The 68th Ballon d'Or of history.
The forward line is where the ceiling still lives. Erling Haaland's gravity continues to be the engine. The question is how often City can deliver him the ball on the cut rather than with his back to goal. You'll see renewed emphasis on 2 patterns: the low cross that flashes across the 6 and the rolled pass from the inside left channel to the penalty spot. Those 2 actions demand synchronized movement from the opposite winger and the weak side 8. If they arrive late, the second ball is lost and the opponent breaks. If they arrive on time, City not only take high-quality shots, but also pin the rival inside their own box for the next wave.
That is a stunning finish from Erling Haaland. You are an absolute goal machine.
One quiet storyline is set pieces. If the team no longer relies on a single specialist to whip devilish deliveries, expect more variety instead. Short corners that turn into 3 consecutive crosses from different angles, rehearsed free kick routines designed to free a late runner near the penalty spot, and flat deliveries aimed at flick-ons rather than towering headers. City's staff have used dead ball situations as a force multiplier when open play is stubborn, and that will be even more true in a season where opponents are content to defend the penalty area with 10 men. Another is goalkeeper usage. The model thrives on a keeper who can pass fast and flat into midfield, disguise the long diagonal to break a press, and command the area when the line is extremely high. Whoever starts will be asked to do all three, and crucially, to help City escape those 5 to 7 minute mini storms where the opponent presses with energy, when the keeper can split the first line with one touch and find a pivot on the half turn. The whole team breathes when that pass isn't on. City are forced into the channels and become more predictable. Expect the first month to be about picking and sticking with a clear hierarchy to reduce noise in a high trust position.
Very good save by Edison. It came off the goalkeeper. It's going to count as a very good save by Edison.
Edison saves!
Leadership is the other piece that shifts quietly but decisively. This is a dressing room with a lot of mileage, and spreading decision-making across the spine is how you keep the temperature right during dense weeks. One of the eights will act as the on-field conductor, telling teammates when to breathe through a 25-pass spell and when to go for the jugular. The center-back group will handle the line height and call offside traps more assertively. The striker will communicate which side he wants the next 3 attacks to go as he reads the center-back's body positions. City's best nights invariably include those self-corrections without a glance to the bench. Rotation will look a little different. Instead of wholesale changes, the staff like keep the positional grammar intact and rotate within roles. An interior for an interior, a winger for a winger, a controller for a controller. That allows automated patterns to persist even when the names change. And it's critical for maintaining the counter press, which depends on distances, not just effort. Expect a conscious effort to keep more players at 60 to 70 high-intensity minutes and fewer at 90 every 3 days. It keeps the press snappy and reduces late soft tissue risks that wreck winter momentum. Defensively, the watchword is again prevention. City concede the fewest good shots when the rest defense is set in a 3+2 skeleton before the attack even begins. The wide center backs must be comfortable stepping into midfield to kill counters. The nearest fullback must foul smartly when the trap is beaten, and the pivot must anticipate rather than react. When those 3 elements are on time, City can keep the back line at the edge of the center circle and compress the game. When one is late, they start running toward their own goal, which is the only game state Pep truly hates. Look for an emphasis on stopping counters at source rather than relying on emergency defending inside the box.
Shut down by Ruben Diaz.
What a block from Diaz.
It's a great challenge from Ruben Diaz.
There is finally the intangible of hunger. Cycles end not only because legs tire, but because minds crave novelty. The new look City offers that novelty inside a familiar shape, a left side with more elasticity, a right side that thinks and protects, a midfield that shares authorship, and a front line that gets to the same ruthless finishes by slightly different roads. If the dressing room buys that idea early, the team will look fresher to opponents even if the names are largely the same. And if the late game presses feel a touch meaner than last year, more bites, fewer jogbacks, the table will show it by winter. Put simply, expect a City that is a shade less reliant on individual lightning bolts and a shade more committed to long, hypnotic attacks that end with a knife twist at the byline. Expect the shot quality to climb as the cutback factory hums again. Expect a bit more edge in away nights in Europe. Expect rotation to be surgical rather than wholesale. And expect the conversation by spring to be about whether the tweaks were enough to carry them through the small margins that define titles, because the floor remains high and the ceiling still depends on how often they can turn control into clean chances in the heart of the box.